Today is the day we get to turn this section right here into a villager trading hall and iron farm. I'm so excited that this day is finally here. We've been building towards it forever. It's a really simple build process, and I'm going to show you the basic outline of this, and then I'm going to go ahead and just build it, so that way you guys get a good idea of what this looks like and how it works, and I'll kind of explain it along the way so that you know how it works. First, we're going to start off with the layers of glass. This is going to be the kill chamber for our iron golems and the collection chamber as well. So I'm going to kind of leave myself an opening right there, so that I can get into it a little later and set up the campfires and hoppers so that we can go ahead and collect all the resources in this section right here. And then we're going to put up above this the water system that's going to catch all the iron golems and is going to put them push them all into this kill chamber. So typically you want to be about 5 blocks above your villager trading hall to have the iron golem spawn. So they can spawn within a 5-block region of above the villager trading hall. Anything lower than that and they'll start spawning on the ground. So I try to typically look for about 5 layers high, and then I'll start putting my blocks, my texturing blocks on there. I just wanted to make sure everything looks good. And I set the scaffolding just there as a indicator for me to know where the center of the platform is. So that's just more an indicator. Now that we have this glass chamber built, we want to go out by 8. So let's go one more up on this part right here. And then let's go out by 8 blocks. So 1, 2, and then let's do some texturing. 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, and 8. Perfect. Now we want to go up by 1. And so we'll go 1, and then go out 2, 3, 4, and then we will go up by 1 for that 5th one right here. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and take out those 2 corner blocks as they're no longer needed. And that's basically the outline. We're going to do that on all 4 sides of the farm itself. So we're going to do it on this side, we're going to do it on this side, and then we're going to extend it out on this side. And then I'll show you how to kind of add in some of the water and other elements to it. But this is going to be a long build, so I'll show you the first process, kind of how it works, and then I'll show you the completed process when it's all done, so you guys can kind of get a good idea of what it's supposed to look like. So this is the outline in a nutshell. So we've got the 8 blocks starting from the glass block and going all the way out to here. Then we go up by 1, and then we go out by 4, and then we go up by 1 again. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this whole outline, and I'm going to fill it all in with blocks all the way across. And just like that, the outline is complete. Now, the texturing did take a lot of work, but I really think it turned out looking really good. So we're going to go ahead and finish by going over to each of these corners, and by going ahead and adding in an extra block, and then doing 2 blocks up here at the top. We're going to do that on all 4 corners, and then we're going to start our water process. Now, our water process is going to consist of putting water on the end of all these blocks right here. So we're going to put water on each of these corners first, and then we will put water on each of these blocks. Now, the only thing I did want to mention is we're going to put water right here. We're going to skip this block, and then we're going to put water here. That way it doesn't create an infinite water source, and all of this water flows directly to the center here. Now, this is my entrance and exit for right now, but I'll eventually block that off as well and put in a block. But yeah, all the water will flow here, but you have to start in the corners first, and then skip this block, and then add water to every single one of these blocks around the whole entire build. So that's the next step. We're going to get an infinite water source and just go to town, adding in all the water all the way around this so that it flows directly into the center of the farm. Now, creating an infinite water source is super simple. All you have to do is create a little box outline like this, and I put it up here on the top of the farm so that I get easier access to it. And then go ahead and place one water source right here, and then one water source on the opposite end. Now you've got an infinite water source, so we can come here, we can fill all of our buckets out of this one water source, so we don't have to keep jumping in and out of this little farm here and going down there to get water, and instead we can get it from right here. And like I said, once you get this built, first start out in all 4 of the corners, and then go ahead and build out your water, or fill out your water from there. This will cause it to make sure that it doesn't develop an infinite water source, so you want to skip this block right here and start with these blocks right over here and go all the way around the farm. So we're going to go ahead and do that now and fill out every single one of these around the entire farm. Well, that is the farm all filled with water. I did go ahead and fill in and break my infinite water source. Next, we're going to go ahead and place leaves on the top of all of these blocks right here. This is to prevent other mobs from spawning. You could just simply torch it up, or you could put slabs on here. Just something that would prevent other mobs from spawning, so that all you get in the farm is the iron golems for the collection of that. So we're going to go ahead and put leaves just because I think it looks really neat. We may change it up later on and put slabs. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. For now, leaves will work just fine. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we will create our kill chamber for our iron golems. So as they spawn, they'll drop into the center section, and they'll be killed by the lava and the campfire so that we can collect all of theirs. Now I do lava up towards the top, which means that we won't get any drops from the cats that will also spawn in this farm, because they will burn up in the lava. While string is valuable, I prefer getting more iron, and by putting the lava in, it increases the rates of the iron farm, so we get more iron and poppies from it. And so I'd rather get the iron and the poppies from this farm and then create a different farm for string, as that's kind of my priority with this one, is to do the iron and the poppies. So yeah, that's it, and it looks really awesome so far. So next we're gonna... Now, for the killing chamber, the first thing you're gonna want to do is make sure you have glass blocks all the way up to the 3rd layer. So that's 1, 2, 3 from the bottom. And then you're gonna want to go ahead and place some signs in place. You don't have to put anything on them. You're just gonna kind of put those signs in place, and you're gonna double it up so that it goes all the way across and into that zone right there. If you try to place a 3rd sign, see, it won't work, so only 2 is all that's needed. Then you're going to come up here, and unfortunately I am going to have to break this glass block even though I don't have silk touch. And we're going to go ahead and place in our lava right here. So I'm going to actually place another scaffold right here. We're just going to come really gently up to this right here. And we're going to go ahead and fill in all this section with lava. So I'm going to put one right there, one right there, one right there. And then I'm going to also do that on this side over here by placing it, let's see here. Let me see if I can break it right over here. I might have to put some scaffolding right here. That's fine. Alright. And then we're going to place it on this side as well. So, one. Alright, that's all we should need. So, one right here, one right here, and one right there. Perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and replace all those glass blocks. And what you'll see here, or what you should see here, oops, that was not good. Let's see here. I have some water. That'll be perfect. That way I've got fire spreads on. So That way that won't burn everything up. Alright, now that we've closed that off and gotten the scaffolding all the way, I'll go ahead and repair the floor here really quickly. I think I have some spruce. Perfect. So that's just a forewarning. Be careful while you're doing this. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put that all in place. So now that lava will sit in the top. Next, we're going to come in here. We're going to put in our hoppers. So first, you want to put in the 2 hoppers that go directly into the chest. And then you're going to want to place your hoppers that go and funnel into that. So you're going to want to place one right there. And as you can kind of tell, I'm making sure all these hoppers face into each other. So these 2 are going into these 2 hoppers. These 2 are going into these 2 hoppers, and then these 2 hoppers are going into the chest. Now, you could put this out one more so you have access to the chest right here. But what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to drop this down into the ground and use scaffolding like I've done for the other farms in the past. And that's going to go ahead and help me to collect more than just the small amount of resources I need. Now, all I need to do here left is go ahead and place these campfires on the top of all these right here. And so that as the iron golems spawn, they'll go ahead and spawn and they'll fall through the lava. This will burn up all the cuts and the string. And then the iron golem's heads will be in here, which will cause that to burn. And then they'll also get burned from the campfires. The hoppers underneath the campfires will go ahead and collect all the resources. They'll dump it into this chest, and then we can go here and access this. I am going to close this off since I'm not going to push that collection to where I can have complete access to that chest. And then I'll go ahead and drop that down with some scaffolding a little bit later, and we'll go ahead and take care of that. So yeah, that's that in a nutshell, and that will be our kill chamber for that. Next, we're going to move all of our villagers into here and get some spaces put in place for them so that we can go ahead and have all the different spaces to start our trading hall. And then as we get those villagers in here, we'll get them set up with workstations, and then this iron farm portion will start to operate as well. Now that the killing chamber is complete, we need to go ahead and place in our beds. Now, I'm going to do about 40 villagers, which means that we can spawn 4 iron golems at a time. So that's a good amount, and that'll get me the best rates that I can possibly ever need for this farm. And so I'm going to go ahead and add in beds, which means we need to make sure that they are visible to the villagers, but also where they can't access them to actually sleep in them. So I usually go up about 1, 2, 3, and place blocks down here all the way around, and then I will go ahead and add the beds onto the top of these. Now, I kind of have to add these blocks temporarily, just so I can add in the beds, and then once I get these beds put in place, I'll go ahead and break these blocks. So these are just temporary, that's why I'm not really caring where I place them, because ultimately I'm going to end up taking them out again. As I'm placing these beds down, something I definitely wanted to mention is make sure that you do not sleep in the beds. So once the beds are placed, they're placed there for the villagers, so you don't want to sleep in them. If you accidentally click it and set your respawn point as one of these beds, go ahead and either place down an extra bed or go ahead and or break it and replace it, because once that happens, it can break the iron farm, and so we definitely do not want to do that. So make sure that you do not sleep in these beds once you place them down, and if you do, just break it and place it again. We also want to break all workstations. So like I was using the stone cutter to put in some of the outline for the build over here. And so now that we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and break that. That would be like any composters or any sort of workstations that would be within a 100 block radius of this farm. Go ahead and break all of those before you finish off the farm. That way you don't break anything on this, and when you bring in the villagers, they will only link to these beds and only to the workstations that are in this region, making sure that the iron golems don't spawn over there because you have a bed over there, but instead they spawn where they're supposed to within this iron farm, and they get funneled into the kill chamber. So definitely want to be careful of that to make sure that you aren't putting your beds close and that you aren't sleeping over here once you start to bring the villagers over, and that you break all workstations before you bring those villagers over as well, so that they'll only link to the workstations that you place in this region. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This doesn't look the greatest, but it is all of the beds in place. Now, you do need a 1 block gap from wherever the bed is at, so that's why I go ahead and put them right here. Because if the villagers can't technically access them, then the farm itself won't work. So I leave a 1 block gap in between that. And because the beds kind of stick up a little bit, that's why I started at layer 3, putting down all the stone and kind of leaving this little gap right here. Now that that's all completed, I haven't really found a good way to position these beds to where I like the way it looks, but they're all in place, and so I did go ahead and break the blocks underneath, so that all the beds are now ready to go. So the next step is building the stations for all the villagers to go ahead and be placed inside. Now they need to be facing inwards so the villagers can see the beds in order to be able to link to them. Otherwise, you can just add a villager on the inside that can see the bed, and then that'll tell the other villagers that the beds are there. I'm just going to try something new and face them all inwards, in towards the beds, as I'm building out their workstations. We're going to try it and see how it looks. Now, I'm still playing around with the outside aesthetic, but the inside I think is turning out really nice. Now, you don't have to use as many blocks as what I did. I was going for a certain look, and so I decided to use these types of blocks. It took me way longer than it typically does if I just were to go with a single block. But yes, now I have all the bays in place to put the villagers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this minecart system right out here, and I've connected this all the way through a tunnel into the villager breeder that's just over 100 blocks away. And I've got some villagers already in place over here, and so we're going to be moving those into this space. Again, I'm still working on this. But we're going to go ahead and move them into here, and so as I'm working on the outside, we'll start to see some iron golems fall, and we'll get some iron golems. Now, in order to do that, we need to get them all into these little spaces. So we'll bring the rail system over, we'll push them into here, and then we'll put a workstation in front of them. We'll also put a trap door over them, and I'll kind of show you that when it's all completed. So that way it keeps them in this little bay area, and we'll have them basically trapped in their new home, so that we can start to begin the process of filtering through the trades to see what we can get for them. So yeah, that's kind of the next step, is to bring in all the villagers. We have about 20 villagers ready, and that'll be a good start to go ahead and get us some of our iron farms started. So we'll go ahead and get those in place, and then we'll see if we can get some iron golems to start dropping in here and start collecting our iron while we're working on the outside, and while we're also working on re-rolling the trades to get the correct trades that we need from this trading hall. So that's the next step. We'll go ahead and get to it. Why? Why did I decide that I would do 30 to start off with? I don't even need 30. I probably could get away with 20, maybe 25, but no, I decided to go with 30 with the possibility of 40. Sure, the iron will be nice. The trades will be glorious. But man, it takes forever to transport even 30 villagers. That's why I think I'm going to give up at 30 for today and see how it goes, and maybe bring in the other 40 later on, the other 10 really later on, so that way I can at least start off some trades, maybe get some better swords or something, bows, pickaxes, I don't know. I just am literally going crazy waiting on this. But that's the price. It's painful, but it's so worth it in the end when you get all these villagers sorted out, you get all the trades you want. It's a lot of work, but it's also well worth it for the outcome and the trades that you get. Almost there. Well, I decided to just go for it, and now we have all of these bays filled with villagers. So yeah, all of these are actually filled with villagers. Each one of them has a workstation, so we have the potential to have 4 iron golems spawn at any given time, and be in there, so that'll give us even higher rates for the iron farm. Really, the goal of today was just to get all the villagers in place and get this iron farm kicked off. Now we're going to have to start rolling these trades to see what we can get out of these villagers, and then we'll lock those trades in. So I'll kind of go over that on the next video, what trades we're looking for, what trades we want to get in place, and then we'll go ahead and get those locked in so that way we can start working towards the rest of the game. I'm very excited about this being done. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you haven't already, consider liking this video and letting me know down in the comments what trades you think we should lock in with these villagers. Also, if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. And then hit that notification button so that you never miss a single video. As always, we're so grateful for you watching today, and we'll see you next time.